Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hallmark channel. I believe we're on episode 4 now. I'm Chris.
I'm Laura.
And this week we are here to review Signed, Sealed, and Delivered for Christmas, which we were just talking beforehand. This is not the only Signed, Sealed, Delivered. This is a franchise, really, of Hallmark movies. By my count, there is a Signed, Sealed, Delivered series, and then there is several movies. There are, in fact, 12 different Signed, Sealed, and Delivered movies. This is Signed, Sealed, Delivered.
12.
There are 12. Signed, Sealed, and Delivered to the Altar, Signed, Sealed, and Delivered the Road Less Traveled, Home Again, Higher Ground, Lost Without You, One in a Million, From the Heart, good Lord, The Impossible Dream, Truth Be Told, From Paris with Love, and then just For Christmas. And then there is a series, and then there is a TV movie.
So I have a question.
Yes.
What chicken and the egg, which came first? Was it the TV series that then spun off these movies, or was it a movie that spun off a TV series and then they did more movies?
Okay, so it looks like the TV movie happened first.
Okay.
So there was a TV movie that spawned all of this craziness.
All right.
And then the TV series came after that. And then all these little sub movies came out after that. And the movie we watched looks to have been the first movie that spawned from the TV series.
Weird, because this is 2 of 12.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that they're counting the first TV movie as 1 of 12. So it's
okay.
No, yeah, if you can follow along, it's sort of like following the Marvel universe. It's Signed, Sealed, and Delivered. Signed, Sealed, and Delivered the series, and then Signed, Sealed, and Delivered for Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Now, I can't. I mean, I will try to give them the benefit of the doubt throughout this movie once we get into it, that maybe there were inside jokes I was not aware of or character arcs I was not aware of.
Actually, that's what I wanted to start talking about with this
Yeah.
movie, was how it's movie 2 of 12, and there's been a movie and a show, and then this movie. Now, when you read a book and you pick up the second book and you're like, it's like a book in a series, and you pick up like the second book in a series and you read like the first couple of chapters and you're like, oh my God, why are there so many recaps? Like, I know what happened. I just read the first book, right? Or like you just have a good memory. You remember everything that happened in the first book, but it's been 2 years and the second book came out, but there's still all this recap stuff, right?
Yep.
You get a little frustrated by it, but it is so essential for people to know where and what and who and why. Like, you need all of that, like that exposition, right? Like, you need all that information.
I was asking myself why quite a few times throughout this movie.
Doesn't have any of that. And there's a difference between like giving that recap information stuff in a book or a movie, right? And then also where you have a movie that just dumps you into a universe and gives no explanation. There's like a difference, right? So like, leave that aside, leave the worlds that you just get dumped into with no explanation and you just kind of have to roll with it. Like, kind of like RoboCop, right? We never get explanations for things just like start happening. You get little pieces of information. It makes a great movie. Blade Runner, same thing, right? Like, you get a little bit of an information, but like, you just dumped into it and like you have to just kind of adapt.
Yes. And
that's great. This kind of a thing, totally different. We needed that information. I needed to know who the hell these people were. Who are these people? Why are they like this? What's their relationship to each other? You get nothing in this movie. We were so lost.
So lost. I mean, to be fair, I feel like if I had gotten backstory, I would be equally as lost. I would have context, but I am still confused as to about, and we can get into this, how postal workers are given so much clout. I mean, no offense to the postal workers. I like my postman very much. He's very reliable. He's very kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and then they like forget that they're government employees at some point. It's
I
like,
mean,
are you gonna do this like you're the FBI or something, but then not do this other thing,
yeah, I
even
mean,
though you would have like you're using this like idea that you have all this clout and you're not using it.
yeah, this movie was very weird. But before we get into it, do you have a question for me?
Oh no, I forgot to look up a question. Let me
Oh,
get to
that's
my
okay.
page. Oh my goodness. You know what? Let me just ask you on theme. Did you ever write a letter to Santa?
Well, that's a good question. Did I ever write a letter to Santa? I don't think I did.
No?
I think I would like tell my parents and they said that they would take care of it kind of thing. Like, oh, we'll let Santa know. I would get letters from Santa.
Oh, get out, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I don't want to say it too loud because my father
Oh, right,
is
right,
out there.
right. Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
but yeah, so I think it was my mom, writing with her non-dominant hand, and
Hmm.
she would take little bites out of the cookies and leave them there and like crumbs, and then but some families I know when Santa responded, they went very theatrical with it, like
Really? Wow.
yeah, like little hoof prints in flour, to show
Oh,
that the
yeah.
reindeer had been in the house.
Yeah.
Did you write
Y-
letters to Santa?
I think I wrote one,
Oh,
and it was because I really wanted this one toy. And I knew my parents wouldn't get it for me, so I wrote to Santa because I was like, well, he'll get it for me because
oh.
my parents don't want me to have this toy and I want it.
And how did that work out
um,
for you?
it didn't because I didn't mail it. I just wrote it and like left it out for him, but I left it in a place that was like hidden.
Okay.
And I was like, but Santa would have known to check. He knows everything.
Of course he does.
I was very upset. It was not a good
Christmas.
yeah, no, it wasn't really.
See, if you were in a Hallmark movie, that would be your story. That would be your backstory as to why you don't do Christmas.
Oh
Like
no.
a big teary-eyed speech. When I was 6, it
No,
was
six.
the one toy that I wanted more than anything.
It was the twirling ballerina
It
Barbie.
was there. It is. But you couldn't say
Well, wait a
Barbie because
minute. Did I
Hallmark.
have that one? Or oh yeah, no, you couldn't say Barbie.
No, you would have to say like Becky, or you have to say another name that kind of sounded
Right.
like yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Yeah.
Maribel doll or something.
Sure.
And it wouldn't even be able to be like a ballerina doll. It would be something stupid. Like
Yeah, well, and then someone would have to tell you that you're missing out on the true meaning of Christmas, and
right.
there you go. But that would be your character arc, why you don't do
Oh
Christmas.
man. Ugh.
Yeah.
Just narrowly missed out on being a Hallmark character in nature.
You know, I was I was talking with my wife today in the car, and we were talking about um like the idea of like chakras and like all that stuff when it comes to like Reiki and yoga and all that stuff. And I was like, man, having to like fix your chakras or your auras or whatever seems like a problem that very privileged people have. You know what I mean? Like people who are in um, people who are in dire straits don't seem to be too concerned with chakras and auras and all that other stuff. Like they have other problems to
They have like
focus on.
real problems to focus on.
Yes,
Yeah.
I feel like Hallmark is catered towards people who want so badly to have problems and but don't.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that. I could see
Like
that. Yeah.
even when they try to go like the serious route with problems,
It's still
it's
never
all
really a
it's
real problem.
they cut the legs out because these serious problems are solved so incredibly easily.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know,
I
but
mean, but that's part of the fantasy, right?
you're
And that's
right,
part
and
of
you
like the
always
stress relief,
yes,
like it's like I have problems. I don't want to watch a movie where other people have problems.
that's right.
I want to watch a movie where they hit the one thing that they're worried about is this thing that I couldn't give a shit about.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, honey, just talk to the guy. Look, see, you did. It took you an hour, but you finally talked to him and
that's
everything's
right.
fine. You're good.
That's
um,
true.
you
There is a
know,
little bit of a catharsis there, I guess.
yeah, it's just like a gentle
Yes.
way to just kind of have a problem, but then not really. Like that's,
Mm.
I mean, that's kind of why I like there's some movies that I want to know that the people like I want to get like the adrenaline up, and like I want to get like that feeling of like, oh no, but I also want to know like it's gonna have a happy ending.
Yes. There is a certain they say that's why people rewatch the same shows over and over again.
Yes.
Because it's a
Yes.
comfort. It's like a comfort blanket. You know exactly
Yep.
what's going to happen. You know exactly, like nothing's going to catch you off guard. You're not going to be like, oh no, he died in episode 4. Like, you know, it's coming.
Yep.
So,
Yep. That's what I do all the time. I rewatch episodes all
yeah.
the time. I rewatch like the same movies all the time.
Yep.
But you know what though? In a way, it's like rereading the same book, right? Like you find more things. You know now.
Yes.
Why that character is the way that they are, you know, that you found out in book 6. And then when you read again, like you know that going into it. So it's like a whole new experience.
Yes.
I love that though.
Your mind is now prepared to look for different things.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Because you're not on guard so much.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would not rewatch this movie though.
Oh my God, no.
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 Not at freaking all. In fact, I got frustrated halfway through this movie, and I stopped writing notes halfway down the page. Like I normally have like a full page of notes. I've got like other extra scribbled things in there.
Yep.
I'm usually like very thorough. I just like gave up. I was like, I'm not here for it.
Yeah, this movie has a very wild premise.
It does. And I feel like there's some things that maybe I can't make fun of in this movie.
I mean, so, all right, so let's set this up here. So, Signed, Sealed, and Delivered for Christmas, 2014, directed by Kevin Fair. Kevin Fair looks like he worked crew for a lot of movies. He worked on The Core. He directed a couple episodes of Smallville.
Oh, wow.
Get Carter, Along Came a Spider. And then it looks like he kind of moved over to Christmas stuff after that. It's written by Martha Williamson and Brandy Harkonnen, and it looks like this is pretty much not all they've ever done, but about 80% of their careers on Signed, Sealed, and Delivered shit.
Oh, wow.
So they are dedicated.
Interesting.
And I think these are recurring characters. So Oliver, Shane, Rita, Norman are all recurring characters. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Not Jordan though.
No. He's just
that.
This movie.
Holy shit. I have a note about that we need to talk about.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
So let's start. The movie opens up where they're all in this postal office, I guess, sorting through packages with some sort of a contest going on.
So this is a dead letter office set in Colorado. Where is it again?
I don't know.
It's a dead letter office, and these people are like the 4 main employees.
Okay.
And they like to get all of these packages and letters figured out by
Christmas Eve,
Christmas Eve night. Yeah. But they also seem to have some sort of initiative to fulfill Christmas wishes from children who write letters to Santa.
If you're sending a Hanukkah gift, you can get fucked.
Yeah, right.
I'm not concerned about that at all.
Right. Yeah, no, it's just letters to Santa. And it's I have so many questions about that because
do they do any other mail? Do they do any other mail? Like, are they delivering any other packages aside from unaddressed Santa stuff?
I don't know. That would be a question for the series, I guess. You would think that that's what they do, is that since it's the dead letter office, that they hunt down, where these letters need to go.
Right. But they are postal workers at the end of the day, right?
Yes.
They do work for the USPS.
Yes.
Okay. Yikes.
There's so many questions.
So, all right. So we meet Oliver, Shane, who's called something else throughout the entire movie, Mrs. Something. And I forget her last name because it's a big deal when Oliver McInerney. Okay.
McInerney, I think. Yeah.
Because at one point, Oliver finally says her first name. Well, not says it, he screams it.
He does in a very awkward way.
Yeah. They call themselves the Paragon of Postal Service. That's
Whatever.
their nickname for their little foursome.
Well, okay.
My first note was Norman's line. They asked him what he was up to, and he goes, "I delivered 2 tiny talking Tina dolls to 2 twins from Telluride." And already I was like, "Fuck you! I'm not on board for this movie at all."
Chris is not a fan of alliteration.
I should be, because I'm an English teacher, but when I was like, I guess I can picture the audience member who would just be like, "Oh, that's so clever." You know, it's like, no, it's not. It's lowest common denominator. But my question was, is Norman going to turn out to be an elf? I thought that's where this was going.
Oh, really?
He was going to turn out to be one of Santa's elves.
I thought he was channeling Mork.
He did. You're right. That's funny. I was thinking if they could afford him, they would have gotten Jack Black for this.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. First thing, before Norman even like talks, first thing my husband says is, "That guy looks like Jack Black." Yep. And then like one of the first things he says, I was like, well, he sounds like him too. A little bit.
Yeah. Every line is sort of delivered with a kind of all like nervous energy.
Yeah.
His delivery. Yeah. And he's sort of got a little love thing going on with Rita.
Yes.
Because every time they get under kryptonite, they both
kryptonite?
Or not kryptonite. Mistletoe. I don't know where kryptonite, probably because we were talking about Smallville. Oh, Lord. They would have had to pay a lot for those rights, I guess. And that would have made the movie even weirder.
Or better.
Maybe.
He does seem to act like it is his kryptonite, though.
Yes, he did. Maybe that's what I was thinking. But it's over their heads, and they realize it's over their heads, which happens 3 times in this movie.
So often. Way too often. I don't know if I've ever seen mistletoe in the wild like that.
In the in the wild. It's for some reason it's hung up in the postal office.
Which again, co-workers.
Yeah.
Why would you have mistletoe around your coworkers?
I don't know.
In a government facility, right?
Ugh.
Right.
And they have this weird moment where they both just kind of look at each other and do one of these. And then they run away.
Yeah.
Like children. Like they're in their 40s.
Rita, I think, was told, your character is 7.
Yeah.
Everything she does is and says and how she behaves is a 7-year-old.
They're like, you know that movie Jack with Robin Williams? That's you have like this thing where your body grows 10 times the amount of the age you are. Yeah. I wrote down when they heard mistletoe, it seemed like they got noticeably aroused.
Oh my God.
So I wrote down, do these people work for the goddamn post office? Because they go to like this banquet.
They do.
And they're dressed to the nines. Maybe people from the post office go to banquets on their own time.
Yeah, maybe
the USPS is hosting a gala.
Yeah, I don't think they are. And that was what was very bizarre, because it did seem like it was an office function, right? Mm-hmm. They made it seem like it was like an office party and not like an outside thing inviting like the local post office to their like Christmas initiative gala thing or whatever. Yeah. Like I could believe that, but like this just seemed like it was like a come to the USPS ball.
It was very bizarre.
Very bizarre.
It was and at that point, I think it's the first time we meet Jordan.
He was in the beginning at the
was he?
office. Yeah, because it seemed like he was congratulating everyone for getting stuff done early.
Right.
Or on time, or however many they did or something. I don't know.
He was in the office in the beginning?
He was, yeah.
Well, that makes the twist way more complicated then.
Well, yeah, because he was there, but it didn't seem like he was an employee. But then everybody else thinks that he is. But it's not like he says it.
But didn't people recognize, like, again, it's a government for, how did
Well, he had been there. It wasn't like he was there for one day. Like he had been there.
Oh, he'd been there for a
I
few days.
guess for a few days while they were doing this, wrapping all these packages. Like it didn't happen in one day that they were wrapping all these packages and get them all done.
Right. No,
Like
of course. Yeah.
it was like over a couple of days. That's the impression you get, or what I got.
All right. So Jordan goes with them to this ball, and there's some weird tension going on between Oliver and Jordan.
Yeah. So like I texted you because I was like, okay, I ship these two guys now. Like if you have ever watched like anything that has like these two gay characters who are like about to become like a romantic interest, right? Like they don't like each other for whatever reason, but then like they end up finding that they know a lot about the same thing, and then they say the same word and they give each other like the look, because instead of them being like enemies with each other, right? Like you know, they give each other that like, oh my god, I said the same thing as you.
Okay.
You know, and like from that moment I was like, oh, these two are going to be a couple. Oh my god, Hallmark got it right. Wow. Was I wrong? But you cannot tell me that this guy does not have a thing for Oliver. There's so many points in this movie where I'm like, you have it so bad for Oliver.
Oh, I mean, I did not pick up on that, but I thought when the twist happened, I guess it made more sense that he was so into him.
Yeah.
But yeah, because what are they arguing over? A word, right?
A word.
Turf.
Yeah. The
wasn't it the word turf?
Turf or surf?
Well, they were eating surf
and turf. Yeah.
They were eating surf and turf. And Norman was just like, isn't that a funny word? Turf, 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 turf.
Okay, yeah.
And then I can't remember, one of them was like, oh yes, turf, from the Norman language of blah, 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 blah. And then the other guy, Jordan, chimes in. He's like, well, actually it's German, blah, 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 blah. And they just go back and forth about
the etymology of this word. Yeah.
Yes. So that must be a thing in the series, that he's into words, because they wouldn't just dump that character point in out of nowhere. That's got to be a thing.
He does seem like he has like a lot of knowledge. What character I think they told him to portray and pull from? Captain Holt's husband on Brooklyn Nine-Nine by Mark Evans Jackson.
I have never really, I've watched maybe like 3 episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Dude, good show. Really good show.
I really like the episodes I saw. It's just one of those ones I like never got back to.
Mark Evan Jackson is like this great actor, and he does these great characters, and he portrays Kevin, which is Captain Holt's husband, and he's very much like the better version of this Oliver guy. Like it's done right, you know. Yeah, it's just but he would know things like that. Like he would have like he's very smart, he's got like PhDs and stuff, like he's a professor or whatever. So like he has like a certain history, and like the way that he like speaks with like a very clipped and like precise manner. It just, on Mark Evan Jackson, is like endearing and adorable. And on this guy, it's like
yeah, it does seem like there's something off about him.
It does.
You know, I don't know. Like, I can't tell if the people at Hallmark don't know how to write characters, or they know how to write them and they're just writing them a certain way on purpose. Like, because I feel like their women that they write are either these workaholic, cold people, or they're just like these super flighty, almost childlike characters. And the men are either complete dunces, or they're persistent psychopaths.
Yes.
Or if they're villains, they're just complete over the top schmucks.
Yeah.
Only care about business and money.
So does that come from like, is there like a list of golden rules that, like, you know how like Disney has like for like certain characters, like Wile E. Coyote, like the Roadrunner can only ever run on the road, and like Wile E. Coyote can never catch him, and like stuff like that, right? So does Hallmark have a set list of rules, right? Yeah, that they like have to abide by. So
I bet you they do.
Or is it just like the producer is like, I don't know.
I bet you they do. I watch wrestling, yeah?
Yeah.
And so they have scripts for their television shows, just like any other television show. And they have apparently a list And it says like when you write, you can't use any of these words. So like, yeah, like you can't use wrestling. You have to use sports entertainment. You can't use fan. You have to say audience. Like there's certain words that they are not allowed. So I would assume if you're writing for Hallmark, they're probably like, look, here are our tropes, and you can deviate slightly from them, but don't come to me with,
Are you suggesting that Hallmark has like a Hallmark movie generator?
Oh, I think they do. Just like a big lever, and then just like signed, sealed, delivered Christmas. Very merry mix-up. They just come out.
And this movie's gonna have this trope in it, and this movie's gonna have this trope in it.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, or they're probably like, what haven't we done in a while? Like we haven't done a confusing love thing where, all right, let's do another one of those. Like I bet you they have a,
Yeah. What professions haven't we used in a while?
Yes.
Sir, we've only got the 5.
Yeah, there aren't many professions. I mean, they're all involved in design or fashion or law or So
because business people move to big cities and they don't have hearts, Chris. Yes. Duh.
Of course. Yeah. Or it's local farm people who just want to live off their land or live in a tent instead of actually, earning a paycheck and providing for their family.
Yeah.
Can't have it both ways.
There's one part at this ball though where they're dancing.
Yes.
Did you have? I wonder if you have the same note as I do.
One never consumes alcohol when one dances the rumba or the rumba.
No, but that's a great weird line. What? I missed that one.
That was like a Patrick Bateman line from American Psycho. Like one never consumes alcohol when one dances the rumba. Like I can just see him in his big goofy Christian Bale smile.
No. Ugh. Mine was because Oliver seems to be kind of in control of this dead letter office, right? So like he's their boss, and it's pretty evident that that's the case. And then he dances with Ms. McNamara or McNinernan or McEnroe, whatever. Ms. M or whatever. So they dance, and I'm like, oh yeah, sure. Just go ahead and dance with your boss. What? At like a company function.
Yep.
And this isn't like, hey, dancing awkwardly. This is
hand to hand, close. Right.
And then we get this information. Did you catch that? This must be in the first movie, that he at one point had to learn dance. Like he was having dance lessons or something, right? For whatever reason. And he needed a partner for that. So she became his partner. So they like learned how to do the rumba together.
Oh, I didn't catch this.
And he was like, because I saw you dancing with Jordan, and you were teaching him, but that's our dance. Like that's our dance. And she's like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, you're my boss. What are you talking about? And he's like, well, he hasn't earned the right to dance those moves with you. And I'm like, oh, you can fuck right off right now, buddy.
Earned the right.
Earned the right? That would straight up, if you ever said that to me, that would straight up, I would stop dead in my tracks and be like, okay, you are about a minute away from being dead to me for life. So like, choose your next shit wisely. You know what I mean? Earned the right? Excuse me? Who are you?
I wonder if in the series they were ever a couple and they split up.
I think that they probably get together later on, because
maybe that's like, what the altar one is. That's the last one. I mean, I'm not watching all 12 of these fuckers to find out.
No, but I will gladly sit there for a few minutes and read all of the synopses on like Wikipedia.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I want to see where this train wreck goes. But yeah, so it made it sound like that was probably the premise of the first movie. Like she gets this job at the dead letters office, and like they've got this whole spark thing going on, and like here's this tension between the two of them, and then like that, America is good at the slow burn. Like we will carry that shit on for 18 seasons if we have to.
Won't they? Yes.
Yeah.
You're very right about that.
So
here we get the first hint that Shane has some family trauma.
Yeah.
She mentions that she has something about a family joke from when we were still a family. So something has happened in her past that we later find out about.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at this point, is this where they receive the letter to God?
Yeah, I think that's when it comes in, because
Okay.
we see it being mailed early on, like
Yes.
opening shots of the movie. And I instantly had a moment where I was like, oh no, oh no, because I picked this movie going against our original rule that I'm not allowed to pick them anymore because I'm bad at picking them. And like 2 minutes into this movie, I'm like, oh no, what have I done? Hallmark's usually really good at keeping things very secular.
Yes.
Right? Their Christmas movies are very much like we're not going to talk about the religion side of things. People
No.
just will come and enjoy Christmas as being Christmas, right? And it's all about all of these things that are religion adjacent, you know.
Yeah.
This movie is not that at all. And it's weird that
No.
they chose a movie that revolves around the USPS, like the postal service, for the movie that they're going to put their religion into.
That's a really good point. I never thought about it that way. I
A
think maybe that's
very
why
weird choice.
Yeah, like why not just why not just say they ran a company that, I guess, but they couldn't deal with mail, right? Because that's a
Right.
federal offense.
Yeah. Yep. 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 Yeah. So there's just so many moments of what the fuck in this movie? Like, what is going on?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it would have also seemed too like diabolical if they ran an agency where kids sent their letters to them. Like
Oh
send your
yeah.
letter, you know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah, that would be
we
weird.
get it. This little girl writes a letter to God because her mom has some illness.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I wrote, what the fuck is happening? Why are we talking about the size of the envelope? This shit ain't getting to God. Like, so they're like, wait, is it a wide envelope or a short envelope? Like, who gives a shit?
It's ecru. They're like Sherlocking this freaking stationery. Does the dead letter office really do that?
No. I think that's why the disclaimer at the end was like, this does not describe the typical profession. And they clearly admitted they have violated numerous privacy rights for people's mail. Like, they let you know.
Yeah, Hallmark added in a disclaimer at the end of the movie.
Yeah, like, please, this is
it's
not
my favorite part.
Oh, and I copied that shit word for word so we can read it later.
Perfect.
But so now at this point, the movie started to get crazy. This turned into like a holy Ocean's 11. This was
yes, it totally is.
So, okay, I was like, oh, okay. I thought this is going to be a little dark, but they're going to write a letter back to her from God.
Right.
And this is not going to be a driving point in this movie. And maybe they'll form a relationship with the whatever. But when they were like, God answered the letter by entrusting the letter to us, I was like, what?
Yeah.
What is going on here?
The letter, because by the Shane way, is like, yeah, right. Well, this sucks because like she's never gonna get her answer or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, she is, because God sent it to us. Like God got it to us. And it's like, oh, okay.
Like okay. I guess that's what I mean by the like privileged problems. They have to recognize the irony that they believe that God sent a letter to them to ultimately put on a shepherd pageant at a hospital, but not cure the mom's disease.
Yeah. It was weird. It was weird.
The arrogance.
It was so odd in that it was like, she's asking for this Christmas miracle, but it has to be a miracle that humans could actually make happen.
Right?
Which again is weird. I feel like there's other ones that are actually a bit more encouraging and a bit more like helpful and so like there's like the chain of organ donors, right? So if you can't find a match, your family will sign up to be an organ donor, and they'll kind of do this like telephone tag thing where like, well, we have a donor for this person whose family has said that they'll donate theirs to someone over here who can then donate one to over here, and then it like zigzags and travels, and it's this whole cascading effect of like, if you have people who can match up correctly, then it all like dominoes into effect, and people can actually be able to resolve an organ donation that way. Because maybe you and your family aren't matches for the person in your life that needs it, but you're matches for somebody else. So if you donate to that person, then someone in their family does the same thing, and it maybe takes like one or two different people just back and forth, or it becomes this whole over the country trading. And it's this really amazing thing that happens, but that's something that's real that happens, and it is kind of in a way a miracle that people can do this. And I feel like Hallmark really missed the boat here, because they really could have done something good by bringing light to something real like that. Maybe not that in reality, maybe not that, but like something similar, where, okay, well, we'll all, I don't know, sign up to be a bone marrow, and then that cascade effects into something else, and it's a Christmas miracle, because if that letter didn't get to them, then they wouldn't have done the thing. I mean, I think, but no, they chose this shepherd's pageant thing.
I think that your suggestion would be a really good idea for like an actual series. Like each episode could focus on one of the people that ends up,
oh my god,
like having to be a donor,
and that would be like a great Lifetime series, right?
Yeah, and their like decision and how it's going to affect their family and why they're doing it, and the
risks involved. And
I don't think Hallmark even labels this disease, do they? That the mom has?
No, she doesn't. She doesn't seem to have well, then again, I mean, I don't really know that much about pregnancy, because we find out her mom's pregnant, and
yes,
there's something wrong with the pregnancy.
Yes.
And that's what's going on. There's something wrong with the mom, but they can't deliver the baby too early, because she's not stable enough to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And until they're both at risk, they kind of just want to make sure the mom stays stable, I think.
Right. No, you're right. There was something with the baby.
But I don't know that much about pregnancy and pregnancy related issues to be able to say, it was clearly this thing that they were talking about, blah blah blah, syndrome or something. I have no idea. I don't think. But you're right. They left it very vague on purpose, I guess.
Right. Probably so you couldn't look it up and be like bullshit. So I my next note is they have a firewall with 5 exclamation marks. What are they doing? They hack into a hospital. They like
multiple hospitals.
Like right now, I can go to any hospital website. I'm not going to be met with a firewall. Like, what information are they trying to figure out? Are they trying to access patient information?
Yes.
From the postal office?
Yes.
Like, that's a HIPAA violation.
Yes.
That's like you can go to jail for that.
I was freaking out at this point. I'm like, did they just hack the hospital? What are you doing?
Oh.
But so that's why it doesn't make any sense, because they're clearly acting as if they have this like authority to hack into a hospital and face no repercussions. But then later on, they don't pull rank like the FBI would. You know what I mean? They don't pull rank later on.
They don't pull anywhere. Postal workers can't access medical records of civilians.
No.
This is lunacy.
I don't know what's going on in this movie.
And my next note after the firewall note, is fuck this movie. And then HIPAA violation. And then when they show up to the hospital, aren't they postal workers? A bunch of exclamation marks as well. They show up to the hospital and they're just walking around saying that they are
carolers.
Carolers, thank you.
Yep.
And no one questions them. They're just like, who are you here to see? We're carolers. On your way then.
Yep. And then it's that easy to get into a hospital.
That easy. And they're walking around singing like shit. And
they're so bad.
I mean, they're singing like how normal people sing, like in normal people voices.
Yep.
And they stop a nurse in the hallway who joins in and was like, that's just what I needed today.
Mm-hmm,
Your shitty half-hearted singing.
But she recognizes Oliver.
Yes.
Because he dropped off a Christmas present to her house the day before.
Sure.
To her son, who wrote a letter to Santa. And she was like, Well, that's cool. Great. Here you go, kid. You get a present from a stranger.
Yeah, creep.
And
And then he
also
goes,
not like, go ahead.
well, no, sorry. And then he also goes, oh, and by the way, what room is 7-year-old such and such's mother in? And she's like, 116. And I'm like, HIPAA violation number 2. You can't just tell a stranger where a patient's room is.
No, you can't.
I mean, my wife is in medicine, my mother's in medicine. And if you call a hospital and say, is such and such in there? You can't even confirm. Or you can confirm that they're there, but you can't tell them what room.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. And then
like, you're right down the hallway.
Yeah. And especially too, because they were asking like vague questions too, right? Like they were asking like, oh, was a pregnant mother brought in yesterday by ambulance? Oh yeah, over there.
Oh.
You are joking.
Can we talk about this line? The only reason people come to the hospital on Christmas Eve is to give birth. Did you catch that one?
Oh, I did. And I was like, well, fuck you.
Like,
like the only people in the hospital, right? And I was like, well,
yeah.
What about the people who are dying?
What about the cancer patients, the gunshot wounds,
the infectious disease ward? Like,
sure. The only
pediatrics, like nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Oh. Nope. Which is a scary thought for the people who are sitting up there who need real medical attention.
Right.
And these people down there are just like, it's just a bunch of pregnant people on floor 3. And someone's like, please.
My arm is detached, like I'm bleeding out. Oh, you're pregnant. Great, cool.
Oh my God, the Hallmark hospital where no real problems are recognized. Just like pregnancy.
Everyone just gets like a couple of aspirin and they're fine the next day.
Someone's like, I have an STD. And they're like, what?
Oh no.
Shoulder. Anyways.
Or a sore throat disease? Sure.
We got some product placement in this movie. We got some Yoo-Hoo product placement.
Yoo-Hoo, yep.
Which is
drunk out of wine glasses.
Yes, they do, because these are classy motherfuckers.
Again, so Jordan is playing chess with Oliver and they're drinking Yoo-Hoo out of wine glasses and they're having a very intense heart-to-heart. I might add also that they're both wearing really good fitting suits.
Oh, yes,
the entire movie. No zip-up sweaters, really good fitting suits, suspenders, vests. Great. They look amazing.
They were good.
But as they're sitting there playing chess, having a heart-to-heart, drinking Yoo-Hoo out of wine glasses, I'm just getting some major gay vibes and I'm feeling it because honestly, I ship these two together so hard.
What'd you say? You shipped these two?
I ship them. Yeah.
What does that mean? No, I don't know what that means.
That means that you want two characters to be in a relationship.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah, like so people ship Ross and Rachel, right?
Okay, I'd never heard that term before.
Yeah, so it's when you want like two characters to be in a relationship. And that doesn't mean that it's something that like is something that the writers are intending or is actually going to happen. I mean, some people sometimes it does apply to that, right? Like the only thing I can think of is Pam and Jim, and I know you don't like The Office.
No, I love The Office. I don't like Pam and Jim as a couple.
There you go. So some people ship them, like they're like totally okay with it. They love them as a couple.
Yeah.
And then there are people who would ship like Pam with someone else. Because and like that's not what the writers are intending or anything like that, but it's just like, no, I really like Pam with this other person, this other character. It's where a lot of like fan fiction comes from. It's when people ship two different characters that the writers don't necessarily intend to be together.
So let me ask you this. Was there any point in this movie where you felt disappointment that these two characters did not get together, or did you know not to get your hopes up?
I knew not to get my hopes up because it's Hallmark and they're not going to do a gay storyline. Like it's just, and then also because they were like throwing it in your face that like Oliver's got this thing for Ms. McInerney.
Yeah.
Give her an easy name. Come on, guys. McInerney. I feel bad. Like I'm sure I know I could pronounce it, and they say it a million times in the movie. I just cannot remember what it is. whatever.
Yeah.
No, so like, yeah, they were throwing that in my face the whole time. So it's like, well, obviously he's not gonna get together with Jordan, but and then they kind of wanted, like, there was like this tension that like Jordan was having like this flirtatious thing with Ms. McNamara,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, but no, come on, guys, come on.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be that where they were competing over her love.
Yeah.
And that was going to come down to them in some sort of, very safe duel at the end of the
right.
Like some sort of like word off where they had to do a
Yeah.
contest to see who knew the most amount of words, and then whoever won got her or some stupid shit.
Some bullshit.
She'd be totally on board for. Is this where we get the conversation about him growing up with the Christmas tree that grew out of a rock?
No, that was a different.
That was a different one.
He was telling someone that from his past, his old Sunday school teacher shows up, and he has.
Oh, that's when he told the teacher. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought, because I remember him saying that he's just a guy that loves things from the past or something like that. Some weird line.
Something weird.
So I have down at this point that so I guess we skipped over a lot because they have somehow orchestrated to put on a Christmas pageant at this hospital.
Mm-hmm.
All these postal workers now are being a bunch of busybodies and getting themselves involved with this family.
Yeah.
And so I wrote down that they're making the kid memorize lines for a play as if she doesn't have enough to deal with her dying mother.
Right. And they even like question that too. And then her dad is like, no, she needs something to focus on. That's not her mom.
Yeah.
Does she though?
But okay, so I wrote down just dress the kid up like a shepherd and call it a fucking day.
Right.
Why do they have to make her memorize lines for a play?
Right. She could walk down holding the pamphlet. Like,
and
she doesn't have to memorize things.
Like, where do they get the stroke to do this?
I don't know.
They just show up and they're like, we're going to put on a play in your lobby. And the hospital's like, yeah, that seems fine.
Right. Totally okay.
Is this a religious hospital?
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, then.
Yeah. It was like Saint something or others. And like their symbol had like a cross or something.
Oh, right. Because they have a chapel in the hospital, right?
Well, yeah. I think a lot of hospitals have a
chapel.
Yeah. That's right. But this was like, I think definitely I think this one is definitely a religious hospital.
Yes. So they're trying to put together all these set pieces, and then we have a very bizarre scene that connects Oliver with his Sunday school teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where Oliver's walking down the road, about to go to the Mailbox Cafe. And he sees someone reach into a bag of an old lady and pull out her purse or pull out her wallet. Yep. And runs into a back alley. And Oliver's not going to take this fucking shit.
Nope.
So he goes to the back alley and he pursues this thief, takes off his jacket, takes off his watch, uncuffs his shit, pulls up his sleeves, and he goes, you want to give me back that wallet? Or you want to have to try to get by me? And I was waiting for the robber to be like, all right, boom, 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 boom.
I was at least waiting for a fight. I don't know what I know exactly what I was expecting because Chris, at this moment, I straight up started laughing hard because I have watched way too much porn because this was totally leading into that. This is such a setup for a porn.
I'm not just going to get through you. I'm going to get in you.
Like, this was such a setup because he walks in and he's like, again, like he's very well dressed and he's got like this full like, masculine top energy going in. So he's like taking off, he's like stripping down and he's like putting it down. And he's like, yeah, you're going to pay for that. And my mind was just like, this is a gay porn intro now. And then you cannot deny that it isn't. Because we don't see what happens. It fades to black.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
And then it comes back up. And Oliver is just...
Oh, man.
His jacket back on and everything, looking very happy.
Yeah.
Of course he is.
Yeah. He just had sex with some stranger in an alleyway against a dumpster. Oh, that's fantastic.
That's the only thing I can think of.
I would love if the writer of this script was working with his agent and he's just got this very detailed gay porn just written out, and the agent goes, yeah, I'm seeing this as a Christmas movie, and the guy goes, I'm gonna have to change a few things. I'm gonna have to write in a lot of other characters. Well, where does the story take place? Mainly in a back alley against the dumpster. All right, we can work on that.
Oh my
God. Is this the next quote I have written down is, Oliver, sometimes you have to stop and smell the poinsettias. And
that jumps way ahead.
Oh, that jumps way ahead. Okay, I must have skipped a bunch of notes. What happens between the street fight and the scene in the chapel?
So so Oliver gives the purse back, and it ends up being his old Sunday school teacher.
Yes.
And she comes, and she's supposed to be setting up stuff at this mailbox cafe or whatever, because her and her friends were going to be doing a party, and they can't cancel the reservation, even though like the person who started setting up the party, he was like, oh, well, where is she? Oh, she's dead.
Oh,
she died. So we can't get our reservation money back, so we're just gonna have to put on this party or whatever, and could you help me set up? And he's like, oh yeah, sure, no problem. He was supposed to be trying to go off and like find this person with this letter, because while he's playing chess with Jordan, he was given this letter, like, all right, you have to like find out who this person is.
This was the bring my daddy back letter.
Yeah, the crackers letter. Yeah. So so he keeps trying to do that, and every time he keeps like trying to go deliver this letter, like something stops him from going like with outside of a block radius or whatever of the dead letter office. So he's at this thing, and he's helping her set up, and that's when he tells the story of the Christmas tree on the rock.
Christmas tree growing out of the rock. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because his Sunday school teacher was like, oh, we had like, you were in the Christmas pageant every year. You always loved being the narrator.
Yes.
Which like weird thing for a kid to like to do, but okay.
Okay. It's probably that's like a part they wrote for him. They're like, just tell him he can read the story. Just put him in front of a podium.
So do you remember what happens with this rock story thing?
I remember the flashback vaguely. But
so he went up for like his grandfather's funeral, and he was like 7.
Okay.
Something like that. He was young, and he couldn't really understand like what was happening and stuff. And he went for like a walk in the woods or something, because it was like on this island off of Seattle, so probably like a really nice area or whatever. And he said that there was like this Christmas tree growing out of a rock, and he made some poignant remark about it being symbolic or whatever, growing out of adversity, or I don't remember what it was, but he made some talk about it. But that there was this older man. He says old man, and I'm like, wow, that's a diss on this dude. He ain't that old. There was this old man decorating the tree, and invited him to like and they were just like picking up like seashells, just like leaves and stuff, and just like picking stuff up and like decorating this like random Christmas tree that they found. And he thinks about that tree very often, and it was like a very special moment for him, where he just like met this kind old man, and they decorated a tree, and it was very, in a moment when he was feeling very lost and hurt and sad as a child. He had this very lovely memory, and that was like a really cute story actually in the movie.
I wish I had remembered that. That doesn't sound like it was half bad. I do remember vaguely like him talking about the tree and the rock, but I remember the flashback of him as a little boy, but I couldn't remember like the actual plot of his story. It was actually
a really sweet little tale. Yeah.
There were a few little, like the actual reading of the letter, the first time they get that Dear God letter from the little girl and they read it out loud, that was pretty heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, I can count on, one hand the amount of like genuine little moments.
Good moments in this movie. My mind is in the gutter for half the time. So
another good moment was, we skipped it, but when they were at that ball and he saw Jordan dancing with his girl, I guess, the girl he had a crush on. McElhenney or whatever. He goes, hey, does anyone want some punch? I could really use some punch right now. I thought that was pretty funny.
Go get some punch. I bet there's punch. He said punch like 15 times.
Yeah, he did. Rapid fire.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we get a big twist in this movie.
Yeah.
That happens in the hospital chapel.
Yes.
So he's sitting there with Oliver's sitting there and he's reading the hymnal. And then Jordan comes down and sits next to him. And Jordan basically tells him, hey, you can't be so hard on yourself. You're not going to deliver every letter. You got to take it easy. And something happened. Oh, he says something about like, not everything's going to be a success. Like you're not always going to have a success in your job. You won't always have success in your marriage. Mm-hmm. And then I think it was that moment where Oliver's like, wait, how the fuck did he know about my marriage?
No, he told him about the marriage when they were playing chess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what was the moment that made Oliver go, you don't work
because
for the postal office?
Because he said the tree on the rock.
Oh, okay.
And it was this moment where Oliver's like, you don't work for the post office, do you?
Yeah, like, okay. I'm sure you don't work for the post office, Oliver. Give me a break.
Right. But Jordan's like, no, I don't. I never said I did.
So then he says, I have to get home for Christmas.
Yep.
Is he Jesus?
Yep.
Can't he deliver this fucking letter?
No. Listen.
The letters are to God. So if in this world God exists and Jesus exists, can't he just say, oh, by the way, just give me that letter real quick. I'll just drop it off to my dad.
Yeah, no. He works in mysterious ways, Chris. Don't you know that?
I can't believe that. So he's Jesus. Good Lord.
Oh, he tells some story about the fourth wise man too, by the way.
The fourth wise man.
To which my husband, who grew up in Catholic school, was like, bullshit.
Yeah, there's no fourth wise man.
Yeah, no.
And he was like a super slow one, right? He kept stopping to do other shit and didn't make it there.
Yeah. So the whole story was how he kept trying to catch up with Jesus, and he was stopping and helping people along the way and whatever. I feel like that was throwing shade on the other wise men, like they weren't good enough or whatever, but whatever.
Did I hear it right that the ending of that story was when he finally showed up to the cross, he saw everyone else he had helped?
No, he had seen Jesus in the faces of those he had helped along the way.
But did he say when he showed up at the cross? So am I to believe he showed up for the crucifixion?
Yeah, when he finally caught up to Jesus was being crucified. Yeah.
33 years it took him to get there?
Mm-hmm. Listen, when one person asks for help, you just have to help like everyone, I guess.
Holy shit.
Right? But also like there's no cars. You gotta walk everywhere.
Wow. This is something else.
Listen, I'm the last person to ask about any of this stuff.
So I went to Catholic school for 12 years and
did you really?
I did.
Oh, okay.
From kindergarten to 12th grade, I went to Catholic school.
No, I don't know.
I mean, this falls right in line with the stories. Like someone walked for X amount of years to do X amount of good deeds. Yep. So anyhow, we transitioned to that. It
was a really good reveal, by the way. Oliver and Jordan were really good. Like their acting in this scene was really good.
I do agree.
Jordan, the character, looked interesting though, because he always looked like he was slightly pained whenever he was smiling. And I was like, is that a choice?
Maybe.
Are you making that choice?
Maybe.
Okay. It's interesting. Because he always looked like he was slightly like there was pain behind his eyes. Even though it was like weirdly mingled. And if that was a choice, then oh man, you're good at like making that actually work. You know? Yeah. Like really good emoting. If it's not a choice, that's weird.
I don't know. He wasn't a bad actor though.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't a bad actor.
It was at this point in the movie that I said that this movie isn't overly atrocious. To which my husband said, it's not interesting though.
Yeah, it just was like, I guess because the thing was so ludicrous, the whole premise was so ludicrous, you were just supposed to be like, oh well, and
Yeah.
just buckle up and go along for the ride. I have
Mm-hmm.
the next note that they're about to put on this production
Mm-hmm.
of
Yeah.
the Christmas pageant,
Yep.
and the little girl goes. By the way, totally ungrateful for all the work that everyone has done for her. Goes,
Right.
where's my sheep?
Where's the sheep?
Where's the sheep? So McElhenney goes out and stops a cabbie and goes, hey, can I get your was it a sheepskin jacket?
It was a sheepskin seat cover.
Oh, sheepskin. Yeah. Okay. So coincidence is coincidental.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, I'll sell to you for $50. And he says, she goes, all right, let me go inside and get my money. And he goes, no, it's now or never.
Yeah.
And so she trades in her family necklace.
Yep.
To get a sheepskin seat cover that dude's just been sitting on all day, that they're going to drape over a poor dog.
Yeah.
To play a sheep in the Christmas pageant.
Which, like, honey, really?
Talk about impulse.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad you were okay with like letting it go.
Yeah.
Because she was way too wrapped up in that necklace. She loses it early on in the movie and freaks the fuck out.
She stopped the whole party.
It's like, holy shit, girl. Like, I understand, like, that's the risk you take, right? Like, if you wear something every day, you run the risk of losing it. That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
Like, if you have, I mean, it's it's almost Jedi in a way, right? Like, you have to be able to like let things go. Like, fear of losing it, fear of losing your attachments is the problem, right? Like, it's okay to have an attachment to something, but you have to ultimately be able to accept that one day you have to let that thing go.
Yes.
You know, and that's
that. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
If it's that important to her, perhaps she should keep it elsewhere.
Yeah.
Like in a little case or a display case or a, hung up. I don't
know. But maybe that was the lesson she needed to learn, was to be able to willingly let go of this thing, you know, in for the greater good. Or something.
It's around this time that we learn her backstory.
Yeah.
And we learned that her nickname was Crackers because she ate saltines.
She ate so many crackers all the time. And I'm like, wow, your parents, they called you Crackers. Okay.
So we find out that her dad, they wrapped presents for her dad who was never going to show up.
Yeah, they on Christmas Eve night, her father just decided he left them.
Yeah.
And I think she was too young to probably piece together other information to be like, oh, that's why he left.
Mm-hmm.
And she says that her mother never saw it coming. And so she remembers sitting underneath the Christmas tree looking at these presents that they had wrapped for him that he's never going to open.
Yeah.
And like, man, that's rough for a kid. That's rough for anybody. When my father passed away, we had his Christmas presents still under the tree, and it's a hard moment. So it is a very difficult thing to think about, and like to be a kid and have that happen, that's rough. But they don't really but then that's it. They don't give us any explanation as to why the father left, or like, were they having problems, because the mother never saw it coming. And it's like,
yeah,
wow, what the fuck? Like, why would you want that? Like, why would you want that dad to come back? Well, it sounds like a jackass.
I mean, if you never got any sort of closure,
yeah,
that might be tough as you get old. Like, if your dad was an asshole and that's why he took off, then at least okay, he was an asshole.
Right. Yeah. Or like they were fighting all the time. It was for the best. Yeah. But then to just suddenly one day he's like, bye, I'm leaving.
Yeah. So at this point, we find out that the letter that he has been trying to deliver is actually her letter that she wrote to God to try to get her dad back.
Yep. And we've been told the answer to that letter is in this envelope with it.
Mm-hmm. And what was the answer? Was it a pendant or something?
There was nothing in the envelope.
There was nothing in the envelope.
Yeah.
is this where he gives the whole speech about what perfect love is?
I think so, because this is
Yeah.
when where he screams her name.
Yes, that's right. She walks
Yeah.
away and she's getting all emotional, and he goes, Shane. And then she seems thrown off that he calls her by her first name.
Yeah.
Um, and he says, if we don't let Christmas do what it was meant to do, we are robbing ourselves of perfect love, or whatever. And then he goes into that whole explanation. He says, I have learned how to hold firm in a storm by trusting that the one thing that matters in this world will never let go of me. Okay. And then he goes, that's what perfect love is. Perfect love casts out fear and replaces it with hope. That's his big speech. And he says basically like which is, I don't know. He says your letter has been answered. You didn't get your dad back, but you but you did get all these people who like are your family.
Right.
And you
Yeah.
need to value those people. Which it was fine. It was a good, I guess, little bit of, and again, maybe there was something in the series that linked that would give this more power if you knew
Yeah.
their relationship was ahead of time. But this was
Yeah.
a fine little scene. He was maybe a little bit over the top, but
Yeah, a little bit. But it was it was an
yeah,
okay scene. It was all
her
right.
acting was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It again, nothing was overly bad. It just wasn't that interesting.
Yeah, and we finally get. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So she leaves the letter. She's like, I don't want the
Yes.
answer. I don't care.
Yes.
It's why would you do this to me? Like, no, I'm done. And she
Yes.
kind of like she listens to what he says, but I think she's like, I don't give a shit about that letter, and like walks away from it.
Yes.
So he picks it up and opens up what the reply was, and like he sticks his hand in it, and I thought it was gonna be her necklace, right? I was like, oh my god, magic! How's that happen? But it's not. Like you don't really see what's in it. It's an empty envelope, at least I think.
It's kind of a weird line that this movie. So the movie recognizes in this world that God and Jesus both exist, but it also these people are not getting very direct answers to their pleas. Like she's like, please bring my dad back. I want a family. And then God's like, no, I'm gonna do it my way. And then the little girl is like, please. Well, I guess he did make the mom better, I guess, right? She gets better after she delivers.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess
oh no, we need a baby for the manger. Oh no, what are we gonna do in the pageant? And look, mom gave birth.
And wait
to a boy.
Yeah, that okay. Did the nurse announce the birth of the baby?
She tells the little girl.
I figure wouldn't
HIPAA.
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 Well, she can tell the child, but
no.
she probably wouldn't announce it to the entire audit. But like maybe, but it just seemed weird. Like, wouldn't the little girl be up there? Wouldn't they let her know like your mommy's in labor? She's gonna give birth. You should probably be there. Like
that was probably a call that her dad made.
Maybe. Maybe.
What the hell is that?
So they have their
yeah.
So they have their big show. They have their big thing. She gets to dress up like a shepherd. And the mom's okay. And they give birth to a boy. And the dad's okay. And the family's okay. And he gets to be his narrator. And we finally kind of get a little bit of closure in that Norman Rita thing. They're under mistletoe again. And it's established earlier that her cooking sucks. She doesn't make good cookies.
Yeah. She makes like terrible cookies.
Yeah, terrible cookies. The worst cookies this side of heaven, he says.
And he's constantly lying about that he likes these cookies.
Yes. And yeah, it was actually a funny line. He goes, Rita goes, you don't like my cookies, do you? And he goes, well, not the eating part.
I did enjoy that. I did.
So you get the sense that Rita and Norman are going to get together at some point. And you see Oliver decorating a Christmas tree.
Wait, okay. So Rita loves owls. She had this moment with an owl when she was like a kid, and it's stuck with her forever. And when they're leaving the hospital after everything's like happened or whatever, there's an owl, so she gets to see another owl again, because like I guess it's been her like greatest wish to like have another moment with an owl. And she gets that, and the owl like kind of swoops down at them, and it's like she and Norman were like standing side by side, like watching the owl, like, you know, over the shoulders. And like when the owl swoops down, she like turns, and they kind of like bump foreheads, which I guess is how they first, something that happened when they like first met. So probably again like in the first movie or something. So they kind of have like another little moment together. And yeah, like you said, like we get the impression that like eventually they're going to get together. Oliver stays behind because he's going to clean up all the pageant stuff, because Rita and Ms. McNamara and Norman are all going to go. They were supposed to be catching a flight and like going home, so they're heading to the airport.
Okay.
So he's like, go on your vacation or whatever, I'll stay here and clean up. So he does, and then we see that he gets in a cab and he goes home, or he goes back to the dead letter office, and he gets into the office, and this place is decorated for Christmas so beautifully. Like clearly he didn't do it. He walks in and he's surprised. Like, why are there these candles everywhere? And why is there all this greenery everywhere? And like, oh my gosh, there's the Christmas tree. And right, it's not just any Christmas tree.
Nope. It's a Christmas tree in a rock.
Yep, it's the Christmas tree on the rock. Yeah. And it has a note to him that says to Oliver, and it says, here's the tree, you do the rest, or something.
I can't remember what the note said.
But it was basically like, it was like, here's the tree. So you cannot tell me that Jesus does not have a hard on for Oliver. Like, it was the most romantic fucking thing.
Fucking A.
It was so goddamn romantic.
Hold the phone.
You cannot tell me.
Wait a minute. Hold on. So Jesus can magically teleport a Christmas tree from the past,
I guess,
and drop it in Oliver's living room, but he can't bring Shane's father back?
Well, okay, but why would you want to bring back a person who willingly left?
Yeah, that's true, I guess. Maybe give her a cool stepdad. I don't know. He could have helped out a little.
I think he would say that he did.
I guess.
Listen, I was overly happy with
prophecy.
He's just way too obsessed with Oliver to even think about Shane. Okay, he doesn't give a shit about anybody else. He doesn't take direct action with this girl and her mom, who's like dying in hospital on Christmas Eve night with a baby brother in the womb. Like, he doesn't give a shit about that. He just cares about Oliver. He focuses everything on Oliver, and he does the most romantic fucking thing in a Hallmark movie I've ever seen.
Can I tell you that I so love that Hallmark inadvertently wrote themselves a gay Jesus movie?
Love it so much. So much. Like, if you ignore everything else about this movie and just focus on these two characters, it is so gorgeous. It's so adorable. It's like,
maybe that's going to be the
13th for me. Oh my God.
Maybe that's the 13th signed, sealed, delivered movie.
I want to write it so bad.
Signed, sealed, and delivered gay Jesus.
Oh, yes, please.
So,
oh my God, I love it.
We get the disclaimer at this point, which is the greatest disclaimer I've ever read.
Well, so the trio comes back. Rita and so Norman gets his little happy holiday.
Oh, he gets his stocking.
He gets his stocking. Yeah. So Jesus
orphan.
gave him a stocking.
He's good on
He gave Oliver a whole fucking story arc.
Yeah.
Gives Norman a stocking. That anyone could have bought. So they come back because they missed him, and they didn't.
Oh, that's right. They skipped their flight. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They want to spend Christmas with him.
Yeah.
This series departs from the U.S. Postal Service standard operating procedure concerning the handling and absolute privacy of mail that cannot be delivered through normal mail processing channels. Basically, they're doing a bunch of illegal shit, but it's for the good of the story.
Like, everything you just saw, ignore it. It's all fucking illegal. Jesus
Christ.
It was, when that disclaimer popped up. Oh God, I laughed so hard.
So I was like, what the fuck did I just read? What was that? And I rewound it. Oh my goodness. What else you got for this one?
Those are all my notes.
Those are all your notes.
Those are all my notes. I know normally at this point I'm like, there's all these other little things to talk about. This movie really wasn't that interesting enough. All of my notes really, I mean, we talked about, but were mainly just about this gay plot point that I really wanted to happen so bad. Oh, so bad. I wanted that to happen. Oh man, I really wanted them to get together. And they are so adorable. Like, it was lovely. That was like the part that I liked about the movie. Everything else was so boring and uninteresting.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, though. You're right. I do have one more thing. I am very curious to watch the first movie. I don't care about any of the other movies. I don't care about the TV series, but there's a part of me that is like, what happens in the first movie? Like, who are these people? How do they come together? How does she end up working in this place? Does she realize and understand that this entire operation is fucking bizarre and illegal?
I mean,
like, what happens? What brings her to this place? Because you get the impression that she's the outsider, right?
You want to just like Tarantino this thing, and you want to do Signed, Sealed, and Delivered Part 1 for our next movie. We'll do the prequel. Man.
I can't pick. So okay. I think we've learned I can't pick the movies. I pick terrible movies. It's not a Christmas movie though. So I don't know
if it is not a Christmas movie.
Technically it's not. Actually, this one was the last one that we found on the Hallmark app.
Yeah, we'll have to venture out. I know Hulu's got a couple of them, so.
Oh, good. Yeah, we'll try there.
Yeah. All right, let's score this thing.
All right.
The Hallmark Holiday Movie Scorecard. Our very official scientific method of deciding how hallmucky these movies are.
Mm-hmm. In our never-ending hope to find out the ultimate Hallmark movie.
Ultimate Hallmark movie.
Does it score high or low? We don't know.
We don't know. We're about to find out. Although I will tell you that this one scored exceptionally high for me.
Did it?
Yes. Well, sort of.
I'm interested.
I'll let you know.
Okay.
Once we get to the end. The male lead wears a zip-up sweater. I did not see any zip-up sweaters, just a lot of cool suits.
Yeah.
There were no characters outside in inadequate clothing.
No.
I gave 1 point for Heart to Heart on a Porch. There were no porches, but there were a lot of Heart to Hearts in this movie.
Good point. Okay, yeah.
So I didn't
give it any points for that, though.
No. Scene set in a boardroom, no. No Winnie Cooper, Lacey Chabert, or Cameron Candice Bure.
Nope.
And then I gave a half point for Christmas in the title because it's Signed, Sealed, and Delivered for Christmas. So it's like an add-on to Signed, Sealed, and Delivered.
I mean, I guess, but like, I feel like Christmas is usually just an add-on word that they throw into their titles.
That's true. So I guess if I'm going to bump it up, it got 2 points for me in that category.
Okay. I only got one from me.
You only got one.
Mm.
Okay. Title of the movie describes the profession of the characters. I gave it points for that.
Me too. Yeah.
Because they're post office workers.
Signed, Sealed, Delivered. Sounds pretty postal.
Male or female lead's parents died. I did give the points because the dad disappeared and didn't come back.
Okay. Yeah. I gave points and then I took them away and then I gave them back and then I took them away and I ended up with just not giving any points for that because technically he's not dead that we know of.
That's true.
So
family business is at stake. I gave no points.
No.
Main character's name linked to Christmas. No.
I did.
Oh.
Because Jordan's last name is Marley.
Oh, son of a bitch. No, it's not.
Yeah. It's Jordan Marley. Shit. And I was like, Jacob Marley.
Oh. All right. That deserves, I'm changing that. That deserves points.
I feel like it was subtle, but I was going to give it that points anyway.
That's a good catch. Female lead has to choose between her fiance and a man she literally just met. No points.
No.
Male or female leads, major flaws. They don't do Christmas. I gave the 2 points for Shane because she makes a comment early on like Christmas is only something for kids or adults who are trying to act like kids. And even though she's full on into the pageant,
yeah,
I feel like she's still got like the I don't like Christmas thing because of her dad.
Oh, that's
I gave the 2 points for that.
Yeah, no, I didn't catch that, so I didn't give any points for that.
And then Christmas is not in the title. I did not give it points, but I'm assuming you did not. Okay.
No, yeah.
So I got 8 there.
I only got 4 points there. So yeah, you are
Okay.
scoring high. All right.
Well, wait till you see this last one. So
Oh
Santa
God.
appears in the movie. I gave it the 3 because of the Salvation Army guy
Yeah, me
again,
too. Yeah, I know. It's always the Salvation Army guy.
and he had no beard. He wasn't even trying.
No, not really.
No. Main characters kiss in the snow. Nope.
Nope.
No sexy food fight.
Nope.
No snowball fight happens.
Nope.
I gave a lot of discretionary points here. I gave 50 points for supernatural element folded in.
Oh my God. Holy cow. No, I just gave it the 6.
I mean, I went totally overboard. I could definitely give it 6. But I was like, Jesus delivered a Christmas tree, a stocking. He gave this girl a family. He cured the mom.
Wow.
I was like, that's craziness.
Okay, good point. Yeah. Good point.
So yeah, I guess I could give it double points. But I was like, I was going through and I was scoring, and I'm like, 50. You know what? 50. And then characters sing a Christmas song because of that ridiculous carol.
Oh, that was
I gave it 3 points.
So bad. It was so bad. I gave it 6. I gave it double points for that. I did give it double points for the supernatural element because I was like, okay. I gave it double points for supernatural and double points for singing.
What was your total?
My total was 20.
Oh, okay.
Nice, so even 20.
If I scored it realistically. Okay. If I gave it those 50 points, I'd have 72. But.
Okay. Oh, that's funny. All right, cool. Well then, yeah.
So we're both all right. We're a lot more even than I thought we would be.
Okay. So now, how many sugar plums would you give this? Your rating?
I mean, when it comes to like tying the religious meaning of Christmas and the festive feeling of Christmas, I mean, it definitely did that. So I would maybe give it, but the premise was just so absurd. I'd give it 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
I think that's what I might have given the last one we watched. So maybe I got to vary it up, but 3.5 out of 5.
I'm actually gonna this is gonna be interesting. I'm gonna score this at a 2.
Ooh.
And I think mainly it's because it's not an interesting story. The only parts that I liked about this were the parts that I was seeing in it that weren't explicitly in there. And that's where my enjoyment from this movie came from. So it's only going to get 2, and I think this is the lowest I've scored in a while, because I think even Merry Mix-Up I gave like just like an even number. Like I can't remember the last time I scored something at a 2. But the other reason is because right from the get-go, we know it's going to be a religious movie, and I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't expecting that. I didn't anticipate that. I don't normally look for religious movies. That's just a personal preference. You know, I don't really want to watch that. This wasn't overly offensive to me. Like it wasn't like super religious, like shoved down my throat, like you should go to church more. Like it wasn't that. It overall did have a very nice story to it, albeit uninteresting, but there were moments where I just felt very uncomfortable, and I don't know if that was, I don't know if I don't like to, I'm not going to score something high if it's making me feel uncomfortable for a lot of it, you know?
Fair enough. Now, do you think this will be on Santa's? I can't speak. Santa's. Santa's naughty or nice list?
I don't know. He wasn't even really in it.
He wasn't really in it. And the only time he was present, he had no beard on.
No.
I
don't know though. Go ahead.
Just because this is more of a Jesus-y Christmas movie than a Santa-y one. So I would say it's on the Santa's naughty list for that reason. For a totally biased reason from Santa's point of view.
Yeah, if Santa's a narcissist, then this is on his naughty list.
Yeah.
But it was about, you know what though, it is kind of stepping on his toes, because it's about these people who are going around trying to make things come true for people, right? Like giving them their little Christmas wish and all that. So, but then again, maybe he's just working alongside God in a way, right? So like Santa's like, I'll take care of the materialistic things and you take care of like the emotional shit. I don't know. I really don't know, because it does have a good message, but the message wasn't overly clear. It just seemed to be more about like Jesus was in the post office all along.
Yeah. You're right.
You know, so Oh man, it's either or. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna go with naughty list.
Naughty list.
Naughty list. Yeah, just if Santa's a narcissist.
Would you give it as a gift?
No.
No, me neither.
No, you neither, huh? Yeah. No, I don't think I would.
But if I did, I would send it through them.
with like a messed up label on it, so it
Yeah.
gets to the dead letter office.
Yeah.
Stays there.
And they would deal with it.
But don't worry, because some office worker is gonna come in and figure out where this letter goes and really make sure that they get to you.
I'm going to go into my local post office down the road, and I'm just going to write "to God" on the envelope and just give them a wink and a point and just be like, you know what to do with this.
I know he's here somewhere.
Pardon?
I will say though, the dead letter office is really quite, it's a good office. They do sometimes try to figure things out. And I know that the post office gets like, I don't know, they get a lot of flack a lot of times, but
Sure.
honestly, I had a letter come back to me that had been taped up because it had, I guess, had gone through accidentally like a shredder or something. I mean, it was an RSVP for my wedding, and it was like, you know, just the little card, but it was like torn up into like 9 pieces. There was like so many tiny pieces that this thing had been cut into, and I don't know what happened to it, but it came back to me taped up, and whoever worked at the post office took the time to piece everything back together, tape it up, you know, put it in like one of their official like envelope things, and send it to me and make sure that I got it.
Wow.
So it's very sweet that they, you know, I mean, that's what they do, right? Like they make sure the mail gets to you. And it's just nice knowing like, oh, there is somebody out there like who's trying to figure out the shit, and like, you know, it got lost in the mail, and like, okay, but like someone's trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's nice. And I'm okay with money going to that. You know, because you never know what it might be.
Agreed. That's a nice note to end on.
I think so.
Yeah.
Rather than us dragging shit for an hour and a half.
Well, that's it for this episode of the Hallmark Channel. We hope you enjoyed. Join us next time when I'm not sure what we'll be reviewing, but maybe
I won't pick it though.
But we'll figure it out and see how Hallmarky it actually is.
Yep.
Until next time.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.